Hello everybody, welcome to Ignite Day 5. This is also the very last session of the conference, so congratulations for getting through 5 days of the conference and the sessions. I hope it's been valuable to you, and thank you ever so much for staying right to the end to come and see this particular session. So I hope it's going to be valuable to you. My name is John Maunder. I'm a technology solution professional based out of Microsoft UK. My role is to talk to customers and partners about our productivity tools. So deployments, features, and capabilities and integrations. So that's my background. And this session is very much around Office 365 ProPlus and discussing the ways that we have the mechanisms that we have for deployment, how we can actually go ahead and deploy Office 365 ProPlus. But it's not just the full client that we're looking at here. What we want to talk about is actually what you get out of Office 365 ProPlus as a user subscription license model. So we're not just talking about that full fat client that you get downloaded onto your desktop, Word, PowerPoint, Excel. It's actually about all the other applications you have on mobile devices, on tablets, and also how you can use them in virtualized environments as well. So we have a range of topics to discuss and a couple of demos to go through as well, just to highlight actually how we can deploy it and what we can deploy it to. So I really want to talk about the impact of Office as a service, what it means to deliver that application to you and have it constantly updated or available for you to take those updates over and above the traditional version of Office, that MSI-based version of Office that we have, where we have perpetual device-based licenses. You bring it down onto your machine. It can only be used on that single machine. And of course, you have to take those updates as and when Microsoft deploy them. Usually, in terms of product feature updates, we're looking roughly around that kind of 6-month mark to 12-month mark. And then we have a 3-year product cycle as well, where we release new products there. So it's about understanding actually what is it that Office as a service is delivering to us. So I want to talk you through in terms of user experiences and also the IT experiences. So what do users get out of Office 365 ProPlus? What are their experiences on a mobile device? What are their experiences on a full client? And how do we get them an experience using virtual desktop environments and the remote desktop sessions as well? And crucially, I want to talk to you about the IT experiences. What tool sets you have to control how Office is being deployed and how you manage that Office experience as well. So let's first talk a bit about what Office 365 ProPlus is. After 5 days of this conference, I'm sure you've actually heard what Office 365 ProPlus is. But just to give you a quick high-level view, it is that full-fat Office. It does go wherever you are. Because we have a single identity that we can leverage, we have this capability for roaming profiles, which means wherever I sign into Office or whichever device, my documents are following me, and my profile customizations are also following me as well. And it is user-based licenses, which means we can have multiple devices. 5 PC and Macs. So we do cover the Apple Macs as well, so 5 of those, plus 5 tablets, plus 5 mobile devices. That's 15 devices. And that's not to mention if we run Office in a remote desktop session as well, or a virtual desktop environment. And we are able to give you the control, just because it's being streamed and downloaded, and just because we are controlling the updates from our content delivery networks, it doesn't mean that you don't have control of Office. That's really what this session is about, is understanding what your experiences are around controlling Office. So Office in a services world. So this is the standard traditional Office. And what I mean by that is it's our MSI-based installations, so they're Windows installer-based installations. It's perpetual licensing, which means you install it on a single device and you have it for the lifetime. That's Professional Plus or Office standard 2013 standard. Of course, we will be coming out with the latest Office 2016 in the similar format. But if we take a look at Office 365 ProPlus, we also add all of those devices as well. Yes, we do have Office for the iPad and the iPhone, so the iOS platform, and also the Android platform with the tablets and the phones there as well. And when you combine this with the Office 365 productivity stack, then we get a lot more. We get connections to that, to our back-end data through OneDrive for Business and through SharePoint Online. So we have better connectivity to our overall productivity platform, that ecosystem of users that we're working with, whether they're internal or external, if they're business partners and if they're customers, if they're virtual teams. When we combine Office 365 ProPlus, the Office, with our Office 365 productivity platform, such as OneDrive for Business, SharePoint Online, Yammer, Exchange Online, etc., then we do get a lot more benefit out of that. So just again, some very high-level kind of the value of Office as a service. We do have a continuous evergreen service that we deliver with the user subscription licensing around Office 365 ProPlus. This means we're able to innovate, we're able to keep the product evergreen. We're making available through whichever devices constant updates to the platform, and you have that control to decide whether you want to take those new features. So Office 365 ProPlus, again, as a user subscription license, can meet your requirements in a number of ways. Firstly, if you're evaluating the cloud, you want to start taking advantage of what the cloud offers, but not necessarily start storing your data there. Office 365 ProPlus will allow you to separate corporate data from that client application. So you're able to take your first step into the cloud there. And also, if you have that environment that lends itself well to bring your own device or choose your own device policies, then 365 ProPlus is a great way to go because you can start enabling your users to work from anywhere across any device. We built this platform device agnostic. It's no longer first and best on Windows. It's across all of those devices. And again, we were talking about already keeping an evergreen, up-to-date service, meaning that when we release things in the Office 365 productivity platform, we can also deliver features and integrations into the Office applications as well, so you can leverage that and take advantage. So let's take a look at what the user experiences are across Office 365 ProPlus as a user subscription license. So firstly, the Office 365 ProPlus full-fat client, that is being installed on a PC or a desktop, on terminal services, so remote desktop services in those non-persistent sessions, on laptops, of course. And if you want to push that onto the tablets and the mobile devices, for Microsoft, we have the Surfaces, and other manufacturers are also bringing out Windows 8.1 and Windows 10 devices there, and also those mobile devices, so Windows Phone. On the iOS platform, the Apple iOS platform, we're bringing out a range of applications, or we've brought out a range of applications that work both on the iPhone and the iPad really well. So we're delivering this unified user experience, ensuring that whichever device that you end up going to, you're going to get the same user experience. So Apple OS X as well. We do have Office 2016 for Mac in preview today. It's a great user experience. We've built that from ground up. It really surpasses what you saw in Office 2011 for Mac. We're starting to use the same code base, and we're starting to see and use a lot of the similar user interfaces that you're used to in the latest version of Office. So it's a really great experience. If you have an Apple Mac, I would suggest you go and check that out because it's leaps and bounds above Mac 2011. And then the Android platforms. Again, we have a range of applications for the Android platform. Both tablet and that phone are both available, and we'll be taking a look at how we can deploy some of these. So let's take a look at the IT experiences, and this is really the crux of the session. We're going to be talking about the various ways to get Office 365 ProPlus as an application delivered to desktops, but also leverage that user subscription licensing and those other devices and see what management tools that we have in place to deliver these experiences. So the IT perspective for ProPlus delivery. First and foremost, the Office 365 portal. I'm sure many of you are used to what the portal is, but we're able to allow users to go over to the Office 365 portal and actually install directly from there. They do need to be local administrators on that platform, on their desktop, but it does mean that you can give them a self-service model. And if you want to extend those benefits of Office 365 ProPlus, potentially to home use as well, again, separating and securing away from corporate data, but giving your users that ability to leverage those licenses, you can just send them to Office 365 portal. They can stream the installation, they can choose their installation architecture and the language that they're using as well. And we're surfacing all of the content via our global content delivery network. So all the latest builds are being distributed there. Wherever you are in the world, you can still get to the Office 365 source files and access that. The Office deployment tool is critical for managed deployment. This is the tool that we use in order to control and manage how we get Office 365 ProPlus delivered to the desktop. And we really have a lot of integration into our management platforms, those enterprise software distribution mechanisms like System Center Configuration Manager, Landesk, BigFix, even Microsoft Intune, we can leverage this platform. And these are some of the examples that we'll see today. We can deliver Office 365 ProPlus experiences to remote desktop services and other shared computers. So what this means is the virtualization of that application and delivery in exactly the same way we see with traditional Office. We can still virtualize it, but also physical machines as well. Yes, we have user subscription licensing, but what that also means is that we can still install Office on a single machine and have multiple people go to that machine, log on, and have an Office 365 ProPlus experience there as well. System Center Configuration Manager, a great tool to distribute Office 365 ProPlus. We do have a full session on deploying System Center Configuration Manager. Since this is the last session of the conference, you can imagine that's already passed. So you can look for Amesh Manchikani's session there, and he'll go into a 75-minute session where he shows you step by step how to go through application deployment. And he also talks about what's new and coming in System Center Configuration Manager 2016 as well. At v 5.0, we can still leverage the AppV model to deliver and virtualize your applications to your desktops that are using application virtualization. And we do recommend and support AppV5 at this time, so you can package those up. And what we'll be taking a look at is how we can minimize your effort around task sequencing to deliver that into an application in System Center Configuration Manager. And the Microsoft Intune platform as well, our enterprise software distribution and management platform in the cloud. If you want to enable your remote users and not necessarily have them come back to an on-premises installation, you can still empower them and control and manage the distribution of 365 ProPlus using Microsoft Intune platform. So we'll also take a look at that. And the app stores, of course, we've talked about iOS, we've talked about Android platforms, and we can leverage the app stores across there to ensure that we can manage delivery, but again, empower our end users to have mobile devices to go and take advantage of those Office applications. And finally, web browsers. So, Office 365 ProPlus is not Office Online. So it's important to understand because it's not the same user experience. However, we can leverage an Office experience if you have that user subscription licensing and you have the likes of SharePoint Online and OneDrive for Business. You can get a good Office experience within the web browser without any installation of any client software. So I want to highlight that we do have a web browser-based version of Office. It's called Office Online. And it is different from Office 365 ProPlus clients, and it is different from the mobile applications as well. So let's start off looking at the tools that we have available to us. So we've mentioned the Office 365 portal and our content delivery network. So the user has the ability to sign into this themselves, and they can download and install using the click-to-run technology. So it's going to stream it down to their local desktops, and they're going to need to be local administrators on that. They can choose their language, they can choose their architecture, and they can even install this side by side with legacy versions of Office. Those traditional Office, the MSI versions, can still be installed side by side. So if a user has Office 2003, 2007, 2010, they can go to the portal, they can stream down Office 365 ProPlus and have a side-by-side experience. But as administrators, we may want to control how this works. So as administrators, we can definitely switch off an end user's capability. We work in a managed environment. We want this to be secure. We want to ensure we're targeting the versions, wanting to make sure we are compliant, excluding applications that people don't need or we don't want them to be using. You know, we have a SQL Server backend with data mart and data models. We don't want them spinning up Access and creating their own workflows and data models in there. So maybe we need to exclude that. And of course, if they go to the portal, they get hold of Access, they can bypass your controls. So you can switch this off and ensure that the way you deliver Office 365 ProPlus is down to you. So we mentioned the content delivery network, fast, reliable for end users globally, and we make those builds available on a monthly basis. You don't have to come all the way over to Redmond to pick up those packages. You don't have to go to your local data center. It's intelligent enough to pick up on the local nodes and pull that content down. And again, we're making source files for Office 365 ProPlus available to you. We're not forcing you to move forward with any number of builds. That's really up to you, how you want to manage and control that. And the Office deployment tool. So we have an entire session at Ignite, or we've had an entire session on the Office deployment tool and how that gets managed. So if you're not familiar with it, I would certainly recommend going through that. What it is essentially is a setup bootstrapper, setup.exe bootstrapper with a configuration file. And that configuration file has a number of attributes and arguments that we're able to leverage in order for you to be able to customize your Office 365 ProPlus deployment. And ultimately, the arguments that we see here are /download, and this will allow us to go and get the source files for Office 365 ProPlus, /configure, which will allow us to install, but also do things like repair and uninstall. And one of the key things that we don't really see a lot from in most of these sessions is /packager. We'll be talking about how /packager can help us package up, flatten down, and create an app-v deployment. And that's really what the packager is for. And then we have /help, which is going to, of course, give you all those help and options that we need there. So using the setup.exe /download to go and get our source files, we are bringing down the full source file every time. That's roughly 800 megs worth of core Office files, plus approximately 200 meg per language pack that you're bringing down there. So if you have multiple languages, you're going to see those source files, they're going to go up. But again, you can choose your architecture, you can choose where that source file actually gets downloaded to, and then consequently, which clients get installed from, and we can select which languages we go ahead and install. And here's just an example of if we were to run setup.exe /download, part of the configuration file, we have add Office, 32-bit, there's the product ID and the languages, and that's the minimum attributes we're going to need in this configuration file to go ahead and run this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut over to a demo, and we can just see quickly how some of this stuff works. So I'm just going to go here to the portal just to give you a quick show of the portal here. So logging into portal.office365.com, all we have here is the user is then presented. So we used to have this a little bit hidden away under the user settings, but now very, very quickly and simply, we can go ahead and click Install Now. And what this is then going to do is it's going to bring down a click-to-run setup file. And then from here, it's just going to start streaming Office. So again, I do need to be local administrator on this machine, and I can just start streaming that Office install down. And you see how quick this is to get up and running. So again, if you're allowing your end users to go ahead and install directly from the Office 365 portal, you see how quickly this percentage is going up. What we're actually doing here is streaming those bits down and doing a set of pre-processes that start to bring some prerequisites down. It then opens up a click-to-run executable, which moves from system account, local user account, over to system account. That in parallel to this first run experience that you see here, in the background, we have the bits continuing to stream, excuse me, along with this installation. So what we can do as an end user is go through the welcome experience here. And we can see here that Office is now installing in the background. So this installation process, as I mentioned, this is running under a local system account. So all of the activities here are logging into our Windows directory temp files if you want to go ahead and do some troubleshooting. But of course, you can also go through this first run experience. If we just go ahead here and see what we have available. So PowerPoint is pretty much immediately available from here. And we can still see we're only 33% done. But what it's going to do, so now what's happening is we see this bit prioritization kicking in. So the click-to-run service recognizes that we want to start using Office. It recognizes which application we want to start using. It actually prioritizes the features and the bits for the features that we need first. So it's bringing those down to us first. And all the applications that we're not opening, it's holding those back, which gives users that capability to start leveraging Office almost within, say, 2 minutes. So it's a pretty decent and pretty quick mechanism to get Office installed onto desktop. Conversely, of course, this is the latest version that we're bringing down. So if you were to think about delivering this via MSI, you'd have to deliver the core Office installation, which wouldn't be this quick. Then you have to sequentially go ahead and run updates. So it could take another half an hour to 45 minutes to go through the service packs and through all those product updates as well. Okay. So what I'll do now is I'll just spin up the machine to show you a bit about the setup.exe and the configuration file. Just starting the second machine here. So all I've done is I've gone to Microsoft Downloads, the website. I've typed in Office Deployment Tool. The Office Deployment Tool is free. It's available to you to leverage free. And it's also available for you to download the source files for free. So what we say is the source files and the bits are free. It's the license that costs. So if I just go ahead and head into my Office Deployment Tool, I've downloaded and extracted this to the C drive here. And you can see here we have this configuration file. So if I just right-click and edit this, we can just see that this is a standard XML file. And what I have here is add the product, add the language, and I have a range of other arguments that I can add in here. Now, it's a worthwhile tip to note that the configuration file must be able to open in Internet Explorer or another web browser and render properly. We see a lot of issues around Office not installing using the Office deployment tool, actually because there's bad configuration, bad code in the configuration file. So if we just close that down and I go through and edit the document. So, top tip, only edit this in an official XML editor or Notepad, because they don't add a range of other characters in the background. If you open up in Word or WordPad, it actually adds in the background a whole set of characters which will ultimately destroy the integrity of this configuration file, and you'll see a whole range of errors. So if I just leave out that end tag and save that back, and then I go and try and open this in Internet Explorer, we see this doesn't open. So it's a top tip to actually see how you can check the integrity of the Office deployment tool and the configuration file very, very quickly there. So I'm just going to head and edit this back because we're now going to use this file. So save that in. And very simply, I'm just going to type in command prompt, and I'm just going to go setup.exe/configure, and I'm going to pass this my configuration file. Of course, we do have to be local administrators on this machine. But again, what we'll start seeing is that Office experience appearing. So very, very quickly, and you can see how rapid this starts. We're very easily able to go and get Office and bring that on in a managed way. And that's just the basics of that Office deployment tool. I just wanted to highlight how very quickly and simply we can leverage that. And again, there's an entire session on the ins and outs of this particular tool. So let's have a quick look at remote desktops and other shared computers. So, thinking about the flavors of remote desktop or RDS that we have, remote applications, and I've tagged this as on-premises. We do also have an Azure remote app that we can leverage, and we'll take another look at that very shortly. So you can leverage the remote applications from remote desktop services. You can also leverage the remote desktop sessions as well. And we can leverage pooled VDI and persistent VDI, so those virtual desktop infrastructures, we can use those as well. And what we're actually using here is something called shared computer activation. And with shared computer activation, we're able to deliver a user experience to multiple users for those temporary sessions. So if I spin up a terminal services, I want to be able to log in as myself, as John Maunder, because I'm licensed for Office. It's no longer device-based licenses, so we're not actually licensing a particular image or a particular device. We're actually licensing the user. So when they log into their session, we want to ensure that they are valid and have a license for that particular session. And some of the ways that we can suppress notifications for things like sign-in is using single sign-on. So Active Directory Federation services and group policy will enable you to give your end users a seamless activation experience in these temporary sessions with Office. We do have the token store only valid for a few days. So what this means is that with the full fat Office for a single user on a single device, we do have a 30-day period of time where you'll need internet connection to go up and validate that license again. When we're using shared computer activation, that time is shortened. So what we actually have is a whole series of requests that will have to go up to the Office licensing service to check validation. It happens more frequently when we're running in shared computer activation. So those machines and those sessions, they do need internet connection to ensure that you can reach the Office licensing service. And we do get a lot of questions around Outlook. So I'm running in either a non-persistent or a remote desktop session. I don't have persistent storage. What am I going to do around my Outlook OST? And we do have a range of Exchange sessions. I'm sure the Exchange experts can go into this in more detail. However, we do recommend that you have a level of persistent storage to build an OST file. Now, we do have group policy that's been even enhanced in Office 2016 to allow us to control how much of that OST file and how much data we actually cache. So if you want to maintain a lower level or a lower impact on disk storage, then you can tweak that cache mode and ensure that the data that you're bringing down into that session is reduced. So we do have those controls available to you. The alternative is to use Outlook Web App. An Outlook Web App is a great experience for an end user. We've done a lot of great work around that. Then there's the Link VDI plugin. So if you're using Link, or as is now Skype for Business, we do have, for things like the terminal services and the Citrix sessions, a requirement for an additional plugin that acts as a media redirector. So we do have some information here. If you download these slides, I've got 4 or 5 slides in here, courtesy of our Skype for Business team, that will go through some of the VDI plugins and some of the information links as well. So ensure that you go ahead and download those slides if you want to take a deeper look at that. So again, we can deploy this on remote desktop services. Windows Server 2008 R2 is the minimum supported today. We also have the capability for Citrix Zen App and Zen Desktop and Azure Remote App as well. So you can deploy in a shared computer activation mode Office 365 ProPlus to ensure that you can virtualize and deliver sessions for Office 365 ProPlus. And on a physical machine, perhaps you have a shop floor or factory workers or a nurse's station. Deploying shared computer activation on a physical machine will allow multiple users to come in and activate Office there. And again, shared computer activation doesn't count towards those 5x5 licenses. So let's take a quick look at a remote desktop services session and how we've actually built that out to ensure that we can deliver the Office application experience through those services. So what I have here is my remote desktop services session host. So for those of you who are familiar with the configuration of remote desktop services, we have the gateways, we have the brokers, we have the remote desktop sessions hosts as well. So what I've actually done, each remote desktop session host requires per collection. So we need one remote desktop session host per collection of apps that we're going to be delivering to the desktop. So for this particular one, I'm going to be delivering on Office 365 ProPlus experience. And what I have here is my configuration file showing that I have this new shared computer licensing value equals 1 and display level equals none, except end user license agreement equals true. So when we run the setup.exe/configure for the Office deployment tool on this particular machine, we need to use the Office deployment tool to enable shared computer activation. There is also a registry change if you have existing machines and you want to swap that over to shared computer activation. There is also a registry change that you can make under the HKey local machine, software, Microsoft, and then we go down to Office V15 today, click to run configuration, and what we see here is shared computer activation equals 1. So this is showing us that shared computer activation is on, and now what we can do is start creating our collections of apps and surfacing through to clients. So now I have Office 365 ProPlus installed in my session host. Let's take a look at the configuration. So the first thing I've done here is I've created a security group. So I have a list of users in my Active Directory, and I've created a security group called Ignite Remote App. This is allowing me to target individual users to my application collections and then surface applications that I want them to be using to just those individual users. So in the scenario where you have Office 365 Pro Plus 32-bit delivered to your end users, and some of those users are power users for Excel. And you need to deliver a 64-bit architecture for Excel to those end users. But of course, we can't install side by side with two different versions. So what you can do is create a remote application session and deliver Excel 64-bit to those end users, and you can pinpoint them using security groups. So I have all of my servers installed on a single server here. So I can go through to remote desktop services. I can see all of my servers that I have and we can manage there. So just to give you a quick overview again, my remote desktop web access, my broker, virtualization host, and my session host. And if we just scroll down here, we can see the session hosts have a number of collections associated with them. So let's just take a look at the Ignite remote app programs. So I can see here the programs, and this is connecting to my remote desktop session host 1. So this is the session host that we just saw that has share computer activation switched on. And if I take a look at publishing these remote apps, so the programs load up here. And what it's actually doing is it's surfacing back to us all of the applications that we're able to surface through remote desktop. So now we can see here, but previous to this, I have PowerPoint 2013 and Excel 2013. So I can scroll down here and I can pick up other applications and get those added in. So quickly and simply, we're able to get to deploying and surfacing those applications to the end user. So if we just quickly load up the client experience as well. So while that's just loading, let's head over and just complete this out. So I now have Excel, OneNote, and PowerPoint all being delivered over to my clients. Just searching for my session here. Just connecting across. So if I now go ahead and sign in as one of my users, what we see here, this is an existing session, so let me just close this one down and open up the remote web access here, and then we can log in as this particular user. And now we can see where previously we had those two applications, I can now see the three applications that I've surfaced. Connect to this. So what this is now doing is it's connecting back using the RDP protocols. Okay, let's have a look. That's fine. Let's open another one up. It's using the RDP protocols to call back to that session host and start rendering Office. So again, if you have that experience where that scenario where you need 64-bit Excel installed, you can very easily deliver that experience back to the end user. They'll then sign into that to activate it, unless you have single sign-on, which will do seamlessly in the background then. And then they can just start using and interacting with Excel in exactly as if it was installed locally on that desktop. So just another way for us to be delivering that experience through to our end users. So let's have a quick look at Azure Remote App as well, moving through there. If you don't have a remote desktop services infrastructure, but you still want to be able to deliver Office to your end users on any device, Azure Remote App will do this for us. So we're able to outsource the remote desktop infrastructure back through to the Azure services. Actually, we've created templates for Office 365 ProPlus for you to leverage straight away. If you want to use your own templates, you can spin up an Azure server, and you can then install all the applications you want onto it, sysprep it, and actually deploy it into the Azure Remote App Services as a base image. And then you can surface those applications out through Azure Remote App. So what we have done at Microsoft is provide you with Office 365 ProPlus, already packaged up as a template, and you can actually deliver that to any of the platforms. We have applications for Windows, for iOS, and for Android, so you can leverage that experience. So again, let's take a quick look at our Azure Remote App experience on these for Office 365 ProPlus. So what I have in my Azure subscription here, this is my infrastructure as a service. These are all my virtual machines that are running. This is why it takes so long to find them, because I've got too many. So if I head down to Remote App, I can see my Remote App collections here. So I have two one's called Ignite Demo 1 and Ignite Demo 5. I've also got my template images that I'm managing myself. So under the collections, all we need to do is click on New, and I can do a quick create and name this Live Demo. I can select my region that I want these services to be pushed out from, so Central US. Give it a plan, so of course the plans do have costs associated with them. And then what it's going to do is it's going to surface back to us our base images. So in this particular region, I have these two subscriptions available to me. The Windows Server 2012 R2 is actually one that I've uploaded, but the one that we deliver to you is the Office 365 ProPlus. It highlights that the subscription is required. So we're providing you with all that infrastructure. You don't need to do the configuration. All there for you available. So all we need to do is actually select this, click on create the collection, and it's just going to start working away. It's going to create that, it's going to provision it, it's going to start working. So let's take a look at one that we've made earlier. If we take a look at the dashboard here, we're able to publish individual remote app programs. So again, the same way we do on premises, we're able to do this via the Azure platform as well. So we can go ahead and publish Outlook, Internet Explorer. You see these are the same options that we see on premises. I can then configure user access in exactly the same way. This is leveraging the Azure Active Directory platform. So if you've gone ahead and synchronized your Active Directory into Azure Active Directory, you can leverage our identity platform to ensure you're targeting individual programs to individual users. And then you can publish this. So we can see here that I've got a couple published twice because I've been working on this. We can also manage our sessions. So if there are any connected sessions today, we can go ahead and kill those off for other people. So if I just switch over now to my iPad here. So we have an app for the iPad. And it's actually just the RD client app. What we can see here now is, if I just go back one, what I'll do is I'll open this up. We have a website, so what's being provisioned here is this capability to go to www.remoteapp.windowsazure.com on any client, and then depending on the client that you're using, it's intelligent enough to then surface the appropriate application to you. So we're able to, on any device, get an app from the App Store or execute the app locally, download this, and actually start to run this from whichever App Store that you're looking for. Of course, I have already installed this. I've signed in with my Azure Active Directory credentials, and again, I've surfaced all these applications through to me. Regardless of the device, we're able to control and manage the user experience. So if I want to just go up and load up Excel, what this is doing is it's doing another callback to the services in Azure, and it's pulling down user experience, the full fat client. This isn't the iOS application. This isn't the Android application. This is a full server application of that product. So we can see here we're logging into Windows Server 2012 R2, and then it's just going to surface that full functionality application to us. So very quickly, regardless of the place, the context of the format that we want to work with Office in, we're surfacing full functionality Office to any device. We have a range of controls. We're able to go ahead and to go through that and bring up the keyboard and also manage which application sessions we're running. If I remember which way to swipe. Okay. So that's the Azure Remote App Experience. So let's take a quick look at System Center Configuration Manager. And I mentioned before that there's an entire session that's been dedicated to setting up Office 365 ProPlus using System Center Configuration Manager. But ultimately, the high-level steps that we have here are download the Office deployment tool to System Center Configuration Manager, create your configuration XML, so select the apps that you want to deliver, select where you want those files to be stored, and then you can run setup.exe/download to go and pull those files, pull those source files to the local machine if you wanted to do that. And then you can create an application. So you go into System Center Configuration Manager, and you can go into applications and create a user and device aware application. So you can target whether this application gets delivered to a set of users or a set of devices. You can then use distribution points to distribute that application to all of your distribution points. And then you can select the deployment type for System Center Configuration Manager. And you can also use precedence or a task sequencing to uninstall legacy versions of Office as part of this overall process. What we're also going to do here is we're going to tie in the App V configuration as well. So we're going to take a look at how we can use the Office deployment tool to flatten and create an App V file, and then use System Center Configuration Manager to create an application to deliver an App V application to the desktop. So let's take a look at this. So just to bring across my System Center configuration machine. So this is one. Okay, so what I have here is I've downloaded the setup.exe configuration files, the Office deployment tool. I've then also, I've already run the setup.exe/download to come along and pull down my Office source files. So here are my Office source files. I can see I have the crux of the installation here, so that's all local to me now, and I can package up this and distribute this to my application points. I also have the App V output file. So what we need to do within the configuration file is to specify what we're going to be deploying here. So what you can see here is I've used this configuration file to exclude link from our deployment, so that's Skype for Business Client. So I want to bring down the Office 365 ProPlus source files, but actually when I run configure, I don't want to be installing Link or Skype for Business Client, so I've actually excluded that out. I've also got some logging here that's going to log over to my C drive. So now what I'm going to do is leverage this, these source files and these configuration files and run setup.exe /packager. I'm also going to give it my output path, which I believe is find this here. So I'm going to pass this over to my output path now. And execute the packager. So what this is actually going to be doing now is, okay, I didn't pass it the XML file. Let me just add that in here. Configuration.xml. I seem to have missed a step. I have quotes in the file. Oh, yes. Perfect. Thank you very much. Don't have quotes in that file. Perfect. Thank you, sir. So what this is actually now going to go and do is it's going to flatten all of our click-to-run files. This is doing task sequencing for us. We no longer have to do this manually. So once we've done this, we don't need to do anything else. It's going to give us our app.v files that we're then going to be able to port into our System Center Configuration Manager to create our application. Now this particular process, it takes a little while. We'll come back to this in a second, and we'll just hop over to one we made earlier. So the ODT, I outputted this over to, I outputted it over to app.v, but it's created these two directories. So we have a working directory with my XML files. I also have my app.v packages here. So this has now outputted this for me here, and I can then go into System Center Configuration Manager and leverage that package to go and create an application to deploy. So create application. And from here, what I need to do is specify it's an app.v file. So specify that, and then I just need to go and find that app.v file, and this will bring this across. It's going to import that into System Center Configuration Manager. I can add a range of information here, so let's give this a name. So Office 365 ProPlus. Demo, I can add in the publisher, the software version, any other additional information that I wanted to. And this is just going to import this application now into Configuration Manager for us to then manage this deployment. So here's my live demo. That's all ready to go, but I don't yet have my the appropriate deployment types or deployments in here. So what I can do now is take a look at properties. I can ensure this is getting published to the application catalog, so we can leverage this. I can also take a look at my distribution settings to ensure that this is being pushed out. And I can take a look at my deployment types as well. So this is app.v deployment type. And in here, we can take a look at what we want to publish to our end users. So of course, we don't want to publish everything. Again, potentially we might want to exclude access. So another way for us to do exclude app is to ensure that this doesn't come through via the app.v package. Let's remove, just give this PowerPoint 2013, etc. Ensuring we have an application environment to push this out to. So once these settings have been completed, we then have our customized application we can start delivering to the desktop. And from here, it's just a case of going ahead and deploying this out. And within our deployment settings, we can target individual users, and we can target devices. Okay, it's taken a little while to come up, so let's head back over to our packaging. So our package is still thinking about its processes there. So now I can go ahead, I can find my collection. So if you have collections of users, or if you have device collections, you're separating those out. You can push this application, this app.v file, this application out to those individuals, and we can leverage our distribution points as well, and add that out. And here we can decide on which action to take, whether we want to install it. Now, if we're doing it per devices, we can We can actually have the option around making this available for end users to take advantage of, or requiring this to be delivered to the desktop. And from here, we have a whole range of settings around scheduling this application virtualization out, this app package out, showing it in System Center, ensuring this gets deployed in a compliant way to your organization. So that's now been deployed, and our clients can go ahead and using that software application catalog, they can go in there. If it's being made available, they can go and take advantage of that application package. So that's a little bit about System Center Configuration Manager and how we can also leverage AppV to deliver that experience. So let's take a quick look at Microsoft Intune, because this is a great platform for us to be managing our mobile devices and, of course, our remote users. So for those who are unfamiliar with Microsoft Intune, it's a way for us to manage and enable our users to be productive wherever they are. We're able to deliver a device registration process, a company portal for people to come and register and gain access to applications that are corporately managed. And we have a level of data protection, security, device compliance around this as well. And in particular, we can also bring Microsoft Intune into play with System Center Configuration Manager. So as an IT admin, you can have a single user interface that connects both Microsoft Intune and System Center Configuration Manager together. So let's take a quick look at what Microsoft Intune looks like. And what we're also going to do is leverage those app stores. So we're going to leverage the app stores that already host those apps for our mobile devices and see how we can package these up and push this out onto an iPad device as an example. So what I've done here, I've gone over to manage.microsoft.com and I've logged in here. It's important to note actually when you're configuring this, there's a few steps that you need to go through. So let me just re-authenticate here. So there's a few steps to go through to enable things like the iOS platform. We need to link it back to the Apple Store, and we actually need to go and get an APN certificate from there. There's a whole range of steps and procedures. Very simple to do if you have a corporate account for the App Store. Once you have that certificate, you've delivered it back into Microsoft Intune, you're then able to manage the applications. You can also go ahead and create mobile device and application management policies, which are important. So if you're looking to deliver Office, and this is the first time you've used Microsoft Intune, we have the mobile application management policy for Android and iOS. And you can customize this or use the settings we have out of the box. This allows you to wrap some compliance and policies around the way that you're managing your applications. So the two things that you need to do: add in a certificate and enable iOS to be managed by Microsoft Intune, and enable them for mobile application management. What we can then do is go over to our app section and start adding in apps that we want to surface to users who are connecting via Microsoft Intune. In this particular demo, we don't have a System Center Configuration Manager backend. This is standalone Microsoft Intune. So the top example here is very similar to the System Center Configuration Manager setup. We're taking that setup.exe, we're taking that configuration file, and we're loading it into Microsoft Intune. What we're not doing is loading in the source files as well, because ultimately this lives on our content delivery network. There's no point in adding in the source files because they already live on our content delivery network. So all you need to do is add setup.exe and the configuration file and point it out to our content delivery network, and it will then run the process to stream the installs from there. So very, very quick and simple. You can deliver an Office 365 ProPlus experience there. But we can also leverage the iOS and Android platforms. So we can leverage the app packages on both the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. We have two variations for the Apple devices. We have something that's managed, a managed iOS app. This is generally something that you may code yourself and then load into the App Store for retrieval. But you can also, for any free application, enable the managed apps to deliver to those devices as well. So when they log into the company portal on those devices, it will do things like force installation. But we also have an example here where we can use the web app. So all we need to do is click on Add App, and this opens up just a secondary window here. See which screen this is going to load onto. There we go. I just need to sign in here. So let me authenticate. So this is going to be our application add-in, removal and editing platform. So what we're able to do here is say, I want to add software, and I can select it as either a managed iOS app from the App Store, and again, this option won't appear until you've done the iOS APN certificate process. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pass it an external link. So head over to my external link that I made earlier. It's very, very simple to go and get this from the app stores. You just load up the web page and copy the hyperlink, and then we can just paste that into here. And Microsoft Intune will tell you if this is not a compatible URL as well. So here we can give this a publisher name. So Microsoft published this. And this is PowerPoint, I hope. PowerPoint for the iPad. And now from here I can select which category I want to place it into. So this is productivity. I can just display it as a featured app. I can also go ahead and pick up an icon to make this nice and easy for my end users to see. And I can upload this. So effectively, very, very simply, what I've now done is I've added that app as a managed app, as an app that I want to deliver via the company portal. I don't want my users going over to the app stores and having to hunt around. I want to deliver that experience to them my way. And what we can then also do is manage this deployment in the same way we do with System Center Configuration Manager. So I can select, maybe we have a group of head office users, remote sales groups. Maybe we have our mobile devices as well. So I've actually segmented Android devices and iOS devices. So as users go and register their devices with the company portal, we can select what applications to surface through to them. So I'm just going to give it to all users here. I'm also going to give it to all devices. And then we have some options around requiring the install. If you're delivering this to a device, you can force that installation onto that device. If you're giving it to an end user, you can have the ability to again force that, or just make it available in that company store. And then what we have is that's now been pushed out to our Microsoft Intune platform. So if I head back over to our iPad here, what we can see here is the company portal. So I can go ahead into the company portal. I've logged in, so I still have my user profile that's all logged in. I can go over to my featured apps. And what we can see here is that PowerPoint has now been added. So if I go back here, go to all, let me see, browse by category, I place it into the productivity category. So I now have Microsoft Word there. It's being, the delivery for this is being managed. I can click on install. The end user will then be redirected over to the App Store. So what we're able to do again is deliver that managed experience for our end users to those mobile devices. Yes, they can go to the app stores and they can click on that and download that themselves. But if you're looking to control your devices and give your end users more support and ensure that you're delivering the right applications to the right people, actually delivering it through the company portal is a great way to empower all of your mobile workers across all of the applications that they're working on as well. So that's now installed or installing. It redirects us over and we can start that installation. So very, very quickly and simply we can get that Microsoft Word experience onto the device. So we've talked about the app stores a little bit there and how we can leverage the company portal to deliver that app store. Of course, we have apps for Office. So the Windows App Store, we have the Office Hub. And then we'll start to see the Office, the 2016 experience coming through on the Windows 10 devices. The Google Play Store. So sometimes it can be a bit confusing about which ones we have and which ones are being released. Very simply, Microsoft Word for tablet, Excel for tablet, PowerPoint for tablet, and OneNote. These are the search terms that you can use to find those in the Google Play Store. We do have some requirements around the base operating systems on those mobile devices today. So KitKat 4.4 upwards, minimum of a 7-inch size screen. That's for the tablet experience. Otherwise, use the Office for Android phone experience. And that requires that the OS is 4.0 or higher. And then they offer Apple App Store as well. So Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote for iPad. And we're looking at iOS 7 and upwards, or 6 on the phone. And then, of course, I've mentioned before, Office 365 ProPlus is not Office Online. It's a different user experience. It is a browser-only experience that you'll get. But with the user subscription licensing and the productivity platform that is Office 365, you can leverage the Office Online platform to ensure that you're getting an Office experience on any device without those rich applications. So here's just some supportability information here. Current or immediate versions of Internet Explorer, IE8, IE9 not recommended. We're moving out to support with those, or we have moved out of support with those. Firefox is the current version, or what we call N-1, so the immediately previous version. And Chrome and Safari is only the latest version that's going to be supported with the Office Online experience. So ultimately, what we've seen here is the ability to leverage an Office 365 ProPlus user subscription license to empower the end user on any device that they have. And we have management tools around that too. We can deliver great user experiences, and we have the control for deployment management of the overall Office estate. So ultimately, you can get the value out of your Office 365 ProPlus Office as a Service experience on any device using shared computer activation for shared sessions, terminal services, remote desktops, remote applications, Azure Remote App, and those physical shared machines as well. And of course, you can deliver the rich applications to iOS, Android platforms as well. So with that, I would like to thank you very much for staying to the very end of the Ignite conference. Happy to take your questions, and I wish you all safe travels home. Thank you.
Question. So when you're talking about App V and Office 365 ProPlus, what are the scenarios where a customer would do that as opposed to native click-to-run Office 365 ProPlus?
What are the scenarios? Well, generally it's when they're leveraging the App V environment today already, right, and they just want to take advantage of the existing infrastructure. I mean, there's a whole number of ways that Office 365 ProPlus actually may make App V redundant in some scenarios. But generally, we see that there's an existing infrastructure, there's an existing environment there, and they want to be able to leverage that out to those end users. Of course, it does also deliver an offline version of Office. So it's still controlled, we're still able to deliver that experience, but give them offline. Conversely, with Remote App, you would need to have an online experience. You'd always need to be online to get that streaming.
So is the App V required for having add-ins connected, or can you do that with the native click-to-run as well?
You can use connection add-ins, the connection groups, to deliver your add-ins to that experience. So ultimately, once you flatten that package down, you can still leverage the same App V infrastructure with those connection groups to bring those add-ins in. Okay, thank you.
Hey, so from the stance and syntax on the configuration file, a couple of questions. Deploying locally. So I want to download the file, put it on a DFS share, and deploy all via my DFS path.
Sure.
So my downloads are not hitting the WAN. What are the requirements on that? Is it just straight UNC path, all works fine?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So ultimately, what you won't be able to do with that is specify multiple source paths. You'll specify one, but then potentially use DFS replication to go and push that out.
Right.
But absolutely, use the Office deployment tool. You can, of course, use PowerShell scripts to automate that process. So there's a level of automation you can wrap around there as well to bring down your latest versions and then DFS replicate that out to the rest of the organization. But ultimately, you can't specify multiple DFS shares in a single configuration file.
Okay, that's fine. We'll use one path. What about for updates? So again, we use a competitor product for our distribution and our patching. And ideally what we want to have it do is it handles all the patch management and delivers that via its delivery mechanisms to the client.
Sure.
The update path, does that also have to be UNC, or can that reference just a straight C path?
It can reference it doesn't have to be a UNC path, it can reference a straight C path if you want. It's not going to be dynamically aware of moving parts if you have third-party software doing that level of intelligence. But either local file stores or UNC path would be fine.
Okay. And then the process from an Office 365 ProPlus to a Visio Online or a Project Online, are all these exact same experiences across the board?
With click to run, yes. So there are click to run versions of Visio and Office 365 ProPlus and Project. We don't support side-by-side of the same version. So if you have MSI Project, MSI Visio, and you want to deploy Office 365 ProPlus click to run on the same version, on the same machine, that's not a supported scenario.
It totally works though.
Technically you can do it, but it's not supported.
Yeah, you have to manually uninstall it first. Okay. But other than that, the downloading mechanisms and everything else is all going to be the exact same.
In a click to run model, yes, it will be.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Hi.
What would be the best licensing solution for an environment that wants to utilize the shared computers?
Sorry, the best...
Licensing solution, do you need E3s?
Ah, okay. So you can purchase Office 365 ProPlus licensing standalone. E3 is the kind of preferred mechanism because you get the productivity platform with Office. So that's a great way to go. If those machines are not going to be internet connected ever, then it's got to be MSI. But ultimately, if you want to leverage user subscription licensing, you have a shared computer machine, run shared computer activation on that, and it will give you a great experience for all those individual users. And of course, when they're not sharing that machine, they'll have all of those licenses, 5x5x5 licenses, to use elsewhere in the business. So that's a great licensing option for you. It doesn't need to be E3, but that's going to be preferred because you get the rest of the productivity platform with it.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
With the Office 365, do we need an Exchange service still for Outlook, or is that done by Microsoft? Is that Azure?
So you don't need to leverage Exchange Online in Office 365 in order to use an Outlook application. Now, there are no dependencies there. It's still your regular Outlook, and it will connect to POP, IMAP, wherever you want to connect to that isn't necessarily an Exchange server. So you don't have to bring your infrastructure into Office 365 productivity platform in order to make use of the Office 365 ProPlus clients. Does that make sense?
Kind of. One of the things I was wondering too is if we did bring it on to the Azure or whatever for online for the Exchange, could there still be email filtering, or is because right now we go through like 3 levels of filtering? I don't know how the email filtering will work when it's done online.
So if you want to use Exchange Online, and you're talking spam filtering, smart hosting, that kind of thing, Exchange Online Protection has that built into it. So are you looking to move your Exchange servers into Azure Infrastructure as a Service, or move your Exchange or email system into Exchange Online?
The second one, you said.
Okay. So Exchange Online absolutely has a whole range of capabilities for connection filtering, whitelisting, blacklisting, spam filtering, virus checking, built into the service. So you could potentially consolidate all of those third-party applications into Exchange Online, and then you can connect Outlook up to that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify, the Windows Phone can run the full version of Professional Pro Plus?
The Windows Phone today is what we call the Office Hub application. On Windows 10, we're likely to see more richer applications per application. So a richer version of Office, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, etc.
So earlier you did say that actually the mobile versions of Office are even different than the web,
So yes,
than
so
the
there's
online version.
so there's a tablet, phone, and web browser.
Okay.
Web browser isn't Office 365 Pro Plus client. I was just highlighting that as part of the user subscription licensing and the Office 365 productivity platform, you get an Office experience there. But if you're looking at the Windows Phone, we have an app called Office Hub today. And in the Windows 10 device, we'll see richer applications being delivered there.
Okay. All right. Thank you. But with the Android and the iOS, they run the full, like your slide?
It's not the full Office 365 Pro Plus. It's Microsoft Word for Android and Microsoft Word for iOS.
Okay.
And they are different user experiences, but they are a rich user experience.
Okay. Thank you.
You can go to the App Store and you can find those.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem at all.
I have a question about, so running Office 365 Pro Plus on the on-prem remote desktop services. So you said the two best options were for Outlook specifically, were run in cache mode, right, or use OWA. Now, in cache mode, you're talking, this is a shared server, right? You got to put that into some persistent shared storage.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? So what are the best practices around that? Because what happens if do you want to put it in a home drive? Do you want to put it in its own place that you can only get to it when you're in that remote desktop, like remote desktop services farm? Because if you put in a home drive, but you get onto from another computer and, you know, two computers try to hit the same file, right?
Of course, yeah. You really want to, I mean, you need to put that in a sensible location that it can work in an RDS environment ultimately. And more often than not, persistent storage needs to go in a network file shared DFS, somewhere like that, that it can be referenced independently of an individual's home drive. So it might be worth taking offline because there's going to be a whole range of best practices. So I'll pull up some detailed information to give you rather than stand here and give you the full answer.
Works for me.
If that's okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.